basketball game. Dub Nation will be followed out of this building, jacked up tonight as the Warriors win their home opener against the Clippers, and it was Steph Curry. It was the Curry show, and some great defensive moments down the stretch here to outlast a gritty and tough Clippers team as we welcome everybody to Warriors Live, presented by Toyota, live at the K House right outside of Chase Center. And boy, what a night it was inside of Chase Center to kick off the 75th anniversary of Warriors basketball here in the Bay Area, of course, 60 years. And Darrell and Mully, of course, the Hall of Famer Chris Mullin, Darrell Wright, NBA champion, former Warrior Bonte Hill. What a night that was inside of that building.
What a night. A season opener at home. That was beautiful, man. The Warriors got off to a great start. Steph Curry got off to a great start. The Clippers not giving up, continue to play and played hard, and even took the lead before going into halftime. What a great game. Steph Curry put that ice on it, though.
It was a great NBA game, Bonte. As you said, a really gritty Clipper team, short-handed. Warriors come out, score 44 points in the first quarter. Steph Curry goes 10 for 10 and didn't miss a shot to score 25 points. Second quarter, the Clippers put up 40.
Yep.
And then the second half was pretty much even, as you mentioned, with all the great offensive moments. The defense held the Clippers to 19 points in the fourth quarter. And one of the biggest defensive possessions, the Clippers came out of a timeout. They got a nice double team on Paul George in the deep corner, forced a terrible possession, and took control from there.
Well, you talk about Steph Curry's start to the game here. That was his 11th 20-point quarter in the first quarter, 35th career 20-point quarter. But we'll get to Steph Curry a little bit later. We got to go to the crunch time stats here, because in crunch time, they're the
ball to the front court to Zubac to kick it out to Paul George. Smart play by Kevon Looney. As soon as Zubac caught, he fouled and put him on the free throw line.
And how important is this, Darrell, to get those crunch time minutes and be in a game like that early in the season against a team that was in the Western Conference Finals a season ago?
Man, it says a lot for this Warriors team to come out 2 games in a row and beat both LA teams, two teams that were, potential championship teams. I think this is definitely a boost of confidence going into the season, and we can't talk enough about the bench and those other guys that came in and played the way they did.
No doubt about it.
So playing small, right? The concerns rebounds? I don't think so. 53-38, Warriors advantage.
Wow.
That's aggressive, athletic team rebounding.
Well, let's go back to the first quarter here, because Steph Curry got this party started with a bang. Warriors are up 17 after the first quarter, and this is according to Warriors via Warriors PR. Ties a career high for first quarter with 25 points. His career high is 28 in the quarter. His 35th career 20-point quarter. The 11th time he's done it in the
50 points last game, and I called 10 threes. He got close.
He got 8 threes tonight in 45. And even LeBron James was watching. The world was watching. LeBron James, who played with Stephen Curry and they were teammates for the first time in the last All-Star break. Hey, Curry, you're a sick man. He is a sick man. He was pulling up from 40. And the first shot he missed today, Mully looked at me and said, I once started the game 11 for 11. Well, Darrell, his heat check was from 40 feet.
Man, that's how you know he is all confidence.
And that was in the second quarter.
Second quarter.
Yeah, but the guy does so many amazing things. Tonight was an amazing shooting exhibition. But what puts it over the top is every game plan is to shut him down. You just can't do it. And he mixes up his offense so well. You see the back cuts off the split action to get the layups to loosen the defense up. And then his perpetual motion off the basketball, not only getting shots for himself, but open up opportunities for his teammates.
And Darrell, we heard Reggie Miller on TNT. Steph needs a bucket here. He's been quiet in the second half. Well, he erupted there in the final 2 minutes. Overall, just a great performance with 45 points.
And he had a little stretch there where he went 0 for 6. But those last 2 3-point shots, they were the toughest ones of the evening at the biggest moment of the game. So clutch performance by Steph. I thought they got good contributions across the board. Once again, Damian Lee, clutch performance in the fourth quarter.
No doubt, 11 points for Damian Lee, but a guy we did not talk about before the game on our pregame show, Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins started off.
but he came out and made his first three threes of the game for 9 points.
And that's what they're going to need. Jordan Poole with an off night here. He's got to find consistency here, but he has some moments in the fourth quarter. But Andrew Wiggins being that quiet third option, second option for this basketball team. Look, Darrell, we know he can score. He can fill it up. I didn't know he could play defense like this, and he made his presence felt on the defensive end tonight.
He definitely did. He uses his length so well. You know, he knows how to put himself in position, and he contests everything. And when you try to drive on him, he contests at the rim. So, you know, last year he led the team in blocks, so that tells you a lot when it comes to the defensive end. But offense, we all know he can put it in the basket, but on the defensive end, he's always there.
Well, let's look at the top class performers here coming off the bench here. We talked about Damian Lee, Stephen Curry's brother-in-law. Well, Damian Lee put up back-to-back solid nights. He had a great night at Staples Center, helping the Warriors beat the Lakers. You see him there in the closing lineup there in the fourth quarter against the Clippers. He led the way with 11. Bielitsa had some moments in the first half. He finished with 6. We saw Otto Porter Jr. took the round in the form as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's when you make those shots, not how many you make, and you can see the trust that Steve Kerr has in Damian Lee. When he's open, he's going to knock down those shots, but maybe as important, he's going to battle on the defensive end. He's going to box out and do everything he can to just do the right thing defensively. But those 2 corner threes, that were the 2 deciding shots of the game.
Huge, huge. And the bench here, it looks light years better than it was a season ago. Last year, the second unit in the first 6 minutes of the second quarter, first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, you never know what was going to happen. This unit here with Iguodala, Bielitsa, and of course Damian Lee and JTA, they're so far ahead of where they were last year coming off the bench.
Definitely a big upgrade this year with the bench, but this is the one thing I know about these guys. They don't have to score 20 points every single night. As long as they come in there, they provide positive and good minutes to let Steph and those starters get rest and come back in and take over the game. I thought they did a great job, even though nobody had a big, crazy night off the bench.
Well, Steph gets the 45. But in that fourth quarter, as the ball was moving around, as it touched multiple players, each one of those players was a threat. So if you're the Clippers, you know, yeah, you want to keep a total attention on Steph, but Damian Lee has the ability to beat you. Jordan Poole, Draymond had a good game, 10 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. So they got multiple contributions. The big night from Steph. But up and down the lineup, once again, as Steve Kerr put players in, they came in. And, it definitely had an impact on his free throw shooting, but he came through, had some nice big-time finishes in the paint. And overall, a really good game by Draymond.
And they can't afford to have Iguodala hurt either. He's leading that second unit with his ball handling and his IQ, Darrell.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, the health is the most important thing, and those are 2 important guys on this team. Not only good basketball players, but the leaders of this team as well. So to see Draymond go down like that was definitely scary, but to see him come back out there and finish strong and finish a big layup at the end.
So we're in this big pressurized, you know, close game, second game of the season, 2-point game. Who does Steve Kerr have in the game? Steph, Draymond, Iggy, Wiggs, and Damian Lee.
Damian Lee, big-time performance there. The Gatehouse right here, Dub Nation. It's rocking back here at Chase Center. We're going to hear from
respective surgeries. Kendrick Nunn, he's also out. More on him in a moment, but head coach Frank Vogel gave an update about his status for Friday.
Wayne is still out. Nunn has developed some soreness in his knee over the last few days when he was, working to return to play from the ankle, and they did some imaging and found a bone bruise they're concerned about. So he's going to be out and likely be reevaluated in 2 or 3 weeks. The great thing is we have depth. You know, if everybody's healthy, we're going to have to make some difficult decisions as to which guys to go to. And it's just brought clarity to those decisions. You know, it's not a situation where we don't believe in the guys that we have. We have the right depth, you know, to still get the job done. We don't feel like that's going to limit us. But there's obviously there's a lot of versatility with the skill sets of Wayne and Talon and Trevor and Monk. Nunn. You know, all these guys that we'll have 82 games to take advantage of. But right now we got the guys in uniform to get the job done.
So on one hand, guys, clarity is a good thing, but you're also receiving that while you're shorthanded because of the injuries. I want to start with Kendrick Nunn. Hearing that news today, reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks based off of knee soreness that has developed. Your reaction?
Bad news. I mean, like, they are down 40% of their playable rotation at this point. Those 4 players you showed on the screen are guys that were counted on, are going to be counted on to be a part of sort of what they want to do this year. And when you can survive 1 or 2 of those rotational injuries and move things around, this is a little trickier. And I think you saw some kind of in that opener, some weird groupings and stuff like that. And these were things that can maybe be mitigated by a Kendrick Nunn being back and having him having him off the court for the next 2 to 3 weeks minimum. The Lakers lose, I think, one of their better perimeter defenders. They lose another shot creator, another playmaker a little bit, and just a guy that I think would give them more clarity as to who they are.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal because it's a bone bruise, as Vogel said, and they're going to reevaluate in 2 to 3 weeks, which doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be able to play right away. And to me, he was probably the guy that was going to play about the 5th most minutes on the team. So right after the 3 stars, and then Bazemore, I think, has separated himself for his defense specifically, Allie. But to not have Nunn there and the optionality he gives you on the wing and also as a defensive player, where I think he's a little better than people realize. He'll battle over screens. He's pretty tough. So those things I think that will be an issue. And now Vogel has to once again go back to where they were last season, where it's, okay, who's 11th on the roster? Who's the 12th guy? Who's 13th? And sort of plug those guys into minutes when they already don't have the type of cohesion that a lot of teams have, including the Phoenix Suns, who they, of course, play tomorrow.
That's a really good point, I think, because it's another player you have to reintegrate, right? This isn't just a big guy. Like, this is a guy who, when he's on the court and doing what he's supposed to do, he's going to have the ball in his hands, right? So they're already dealing with that with Russell Westbrook. Maybe in 2 to 3 weeks, I'm sure they hope that's a little more ironed out. But let's now throw another problem into the mix. And then, what do our lineups look like when Talen Horton-Tucker, another ball handler and another playmaker, comes back? These are all kind of confusing things. And this is going to be the story of this team early in the year is, how do they handle all this stuff? Luckily for them, they've got great top-end talent. And so a lot of nights, I think, sort of the formula is going to be to sort of win ugly in a way where you've got great players, you can out-talent a lot of teams, do it that way, and this cohesion and kind of the self-knowledge as to who they are as a team. We might not see that till January. That could be a ways down the road.
Which the beautiful thing about this, guys, and we all know this, is one, the team has been preaching patience for other reasons. You never want to obviously start the season with injuries, but that kind of plays part into what they've been preaching. But also, you don't want to peak on night 2, game 2, if you will. So there is time. With that said, the positive is that your stars are healthy. So outside of them, who is it, Mike, that you want to see step up? Who needs to step up when you're dealing with these injuries and who they are, too, early in the season?
With this specific one to Nunn, I do think about Bradley just because of the defensive presence that you're going to need. That's where the Lakers lost a lot on the perimeter in the offseason.